Easy A is mine. I'm going to pass this class with flying colors. What do you mean you're failing me?
You have no idea how true that skit actually is. I'll give you a personal story with it. In the middle of one of my classes for, I think it was watching, it was a documentary class. Like, you watched a whole bunch of documentaries for it, and then you had to be a little critical thinking with what it was about, what the themes of it were for, what exactly you're watching, things like that. And one of my buddies at the time, Ralph, he was, oh God, what did he go for right now? It was one of those things where it was the engineering things, but it's more along working with water and pipes and things like that. It's not a plumber, but it's the engineering of that, if that makes sense. If anybody can tell me what that is down in the comments, what the proper term for it is, I would appreciate that a ton. Anyways, to go about this, he also took that class alongside with me, and we would actually help each other with certain parts of the documentaries about it. Now, me coming into this with the acting degree and everything about that, I took it as, okay, we're going to see how the filmmaking process of it works. Some of the story making stuff is kind of there, like you can understand some of it. Like, say, there was a documentary about Bob Dylan and his like travels as he's performing concerts and stuff like that, and it seemed like it was predating what it looked like to make a YouTube vlog, if that makes sense. However, there were other stories involved in it, like there was some going back into good old pre-World War II Germany, things, what it's like to live as a black man in America, understanding pop culture and things like that. Heck, I even recommended the Smash Brothers documentary, the one that was made in 2013, not the one that was made in 20. I don't remember what the second one was, but the one that got people into the scene. I would recommend that for people to watch. Hell, I wrote a two, no, not a 2-page paper, a 10-page paper on that whole goddamn thing about what it was, what the stories in there were about, what the characters were about, who the players were, from the progression of the community from the start of it to the pre-day present day that it was made and things like that. It was a fun paper to write, actually. Ralph, on the other hand, had some trouble with that class. He went into it thinking that it's just watching documentaries. That's all it's going to be. He didn't expect to write a paper about it. And when he did, if you go back and watch the skit I stitched with this, it's literally just a movie. That has come up way too many times for it to be a coincidence for a whole hell of a lot of people, which got me thinking. Why is it that some people will watch a movie and think it's just a movie? Well, it's the way their thought process will go for. Me as an example, I tend to act. I like storytelling elements. I like character building and things like that. And if some stories have, for example, a theme that it centers itself around, any sort of literature or message or like thing that it wants to, a theme that it wants to like make sure that it gets the message out. You get what I mean. If it has something it wants to deliver, it will do so effectively, hopefully. But there will be some people out there who don't get the message. I'll give you a good example. Not a whole hell of a lot of people can play Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne because of a lot of themes in there, a lot of religious themes in there, a lot of theological themes in there. And some people will look at it, ooh, we just get the demons on our side and we've hit them with a pointy stick or our fists, and it's great. And then they miss the entire point of the whole story afterwards. They miss the entire themes of the story. They miss all the extra good content in those kinds of stories. It's one of those things where when Ralph gave me his paper, his final paper that we had to deliver as like an end of semester, hey, this counts for like 50% of your grade kind of deal. I told him, um, with the subject that he chose one of the movies that we watched, and he wrote, it was just a movie. I didn't gain anything from this. When I saw that, I was thinking, okay, there is a slight possibility that the professor will fail you for this. If you hadn't learned anything watching these kinds of movies, that means the professor didn't do his job. Me, understanding the history of things, understanding the themes of the movies, understanding the message of the movies, is the point of the movies / documentaries that we were watching. But Ralph didn't see it that way. It's just a movie. But yet I talked to him about all of his little engineering stuff, and he could tell you which pipe goes where, how, and what kind of pressure the water has to be to make it actually work instead of having the pipes burst, things like that, to make sure that they do work. It's not plumbing work, but I forget the term for it. Again, let me know in the comments. Which really goes to show about that one phrase. What was it again? Oh, yeah. If we judged everybody's intelligence on their ability to climb a tree, a goldfish would go through its entire life believing it is stupid. Do not belittle any of the knowledge that you will learn from any sort of class. No matter what your expertise may be, there will always be something in other areas of life that you may not know, or you may not understand, and you may need some people to help you out with it. Oh, and for future's reference, yes, we both did pass that class. I got an A, he got like, I think a C, or a high D. D for diploma. It works.